The bear carried the child down the road. You won't believe what happened next. Volodya got a job as a truck driver immediately after he was expelled from the institute. It was lucky that there were rights of all categories. After being expelled from the institute, life somehow turned upside down. The parents stopped funding, the wife immediately filed for divorce, took their son, and through the court got it banned from seeing each other. So long-distance flights across the country simply saved Volodya from loneliness and rash actions, and plus savings on housing. The cabin of his native Kamaz has now become his home. This is how a person's life can turn upside down simply because of failing an exam in a subject that, in principle, has never been useful to anyone either in life or work. However, this was not the last surprise that fate had in store for Volodya on his life's path. He was driving along the highway not suspecting anything, and suddenly there was a traffic jam just like in the city. Well, what happened? Maybe an accident? What if someone needed help? Just in case, Volodya stopped on the side of the road and went to look. The next thing is what he saw. 3 bears sit on the highway and don't allow cars to pass. Then Volodya realized that he was the only one who found himself alone with such a ferocious predator. Smart people sit in cars. Well, he's a truck driver, he needs it more than anyone else. Volodya in principle was not a timid person. One-on-one, he would have gone up against a bear, but there are 3 of them. Involuntarily, the guy began to look around and look for an escape route. If the bear runs, then Volodya will never have time to reach his car, and then he still has to open the door. The guy looks and people in cars show him bears and wave their hands. He took a closer look and one of them had a baby in its mouth. Volodya almost lost consciousness. This is exactly how he last saw his son. It was unclear what the bear was doing with the child. Either he will put it in his mouth or he will take it in. And where did he get it in the middle of the taiga? Then Volodya himself became furious and rushed straight at the predators. The guy's behavior scared 3 bears at once. They jumped and ran into the taiga where they came from, taking the baby with them. Volodya was furious behind them. It was only then that he realized that the bears were not afraid of him but were leading him to the place where the child was taken. There was a girl lying right in the forest. She was unconscious. It was clear from her clothes that the girl was from a prison. Well, she's obviously a runaway, Volodya thought. If they're released, the robe is left there. It's a bad omen to take something with you out of prison, and after all, it's a woman. The bears walk around, lick her, but can't bring her to her senses. Then Volodya understood everything. The bears didn't try to eat the child, they tried to attract people this way, to call for help. Apparently, the girl gave birth in the forest. She probably escaped so she wouldn't have a child in prison. Who would then want to live with such a fate, stigma since childhood? The child should be born in freedom, but the poor fellow was caught in labor on the way. And then the bears found her. This is how it happens. People don't help, but wild animals come to the rescue. Volodya began to bring the girl to her senses. The bears realized that they had achieved their goal, left the baby, and left. The girl slowly came to her senses. She looked around and was scared at first, but Volodya calmed her down. They examined the baby together. Surprisingly, there wasn't a scratch on it. Here's another miracle of nature. The bear, a rough wild animal, treated the baby better than some midwives. Volodya knew this firsthand. He had a younger sister who had been disabled since childhood due to an irregular birth. That's what it said in the certificate, but in reality, the drunk midwife simply dropped the baby on the floor. Here's a paid maternity hospital for you. As it turned out, the girl's name was Katya and she really escaped from the colony, only she fainted not from childbirth but from fear when 3 bears came out of the taiga in response to her screams. She didn't know that they were guardian angels that would save her and their baby, and even bring such a good guy. In short, right then and there, they decided they would name the boy Mikhail in honor of the 3 saviors. Volodya helped Katya get to his Kamaz. There was no traffic jam. The cars moved away as soon as the bears left the road. The road was already completely empty, so no one saw them. Katya and Misha traveled around the country with Volodya in his cabin. Of course, the young people's feelings flared up, so what was to be done? Katya was a runaway. Volodya couldn't turn her in because he loved her. When they returned to their place of registration, Volodya went to the head of the convoy. It was necessary to consult what to do with Katya. He was like a father to Volodya, and when he returned to the car, everything resolved itself. On the seat, he found a note saying, "Take care of Misha." Katya gave herself up. She saw how Volodya treated her son and knew that she was leaving him in good hands. They didn't give her much extra for turning herself in, but she didn't get much extra for escaping. And soon Katya was released for real, officially as an honest person. She knew where she was going. Unlike many, she had a place to return to. Her husband and son were waiting for her home in the village. When Katya disappeared, Volodya found her in the colony. They signed right there. Volodya adopted Misha. He had to leave his job. Now there was no need to disappear from life for 6 months. His life was just beginning. Volodya and the child moved to the village to live with Katya's grandmother. She never realized that Mishka was not Volodya's son. What Volodya actually didn't ask about. His life was divided into before and after.